What's the problem? People find themselves, chronically, in unhealthy, unbalanced relationships where they give the majority of love, respect, and care, only to receive nothing in return. Despite the pain, they stay in this unhappy, toxic dance. Why? Because they're afraid of feeling the intense shame and pathological loneliness that would arise if they left. What is it? Often, this has been called codependency. However, a more appropriate phrase is self-love deficit disorder, or SLDD. Why? As you can see on this SLDD diagram, codependency is a mere symptom of not loving oneself. Codependency is not what needs to be treated. Rather, the root cause needs to be addressed. It all begins with attachment trauma, the root cause. This often occurs when a child is raised by a narcissistic parent who does not allow them to feel loved, respected, cared for, and safe. Love is merely conditional and judgmental. This trauma is then responsible for causing core shame. Core shame is a distorted belief of being fundamentally bad or flawed. Such toxic shame reduces a person to feeling only good when they take care of others, while ignoring themselves. Loving someone, while being invisible, creates pathological loneliness, deep, bone-aching emotional pain. This is the excruciating SLDD addiction withdrawal pain that reduces one to feeling invisible, worthless, and unlovable. The pain of it is simply unbearable. Hence, the person with SLDD is uniquely prone to SLDD addiction, which is the desperate need of a relationship that will make the lonely pain go away. The pathologically narcissistic romantic interest becomes their drug of choice, which never remedies their loneliness and lifelong pursuit of love, respect, and caring. Like other addictions, the attraction to narcissists begins with euphoria and excitement, but predictably ends with regret and shame. This attachment-traumatized, shame-based, pathologically lonely, narcissist-addicted person behaves with self-love deficit disorder, the selfless, compulsive caretaker who habitually attempts to control others into loving them. Therefore, the problem was never the SLDD, but everything that lies beneath it. The pyramid demonstrates why someone with SLDD does not respond to traditional psychotherapy, as the problem that is treated is not the actual cause of the disorder. This invisible and treatment-resistant addiction cannot be remedied unless its underlying causes are addressed and solved. In other words, by understanding that SLDD is just a bunch of symptoms of much more complicated and fundamental psychological problems, the problem can never be solved. There is, however, a cure for self-love deficit disorder. You may have guessed it. The cure is the achievement of self-love abundance. This is the exact opposite of each of the SLDD pyramid's levels, such as demonstrated in the self-love abundance pyramid. First, the root of the problem is addressed. Attachment trauma resolution occurs when a person in psychotherapy safely explores their repressed or hidden childhood trauma. By bringing their long-forgotten hurt child experience forward, showing it the light of day, they are able to accept the sad reality of their childhood, let it go, and integrate it into their conscious mind. Such allows them to realize core self-love, a realistic, optimistic, and self-affirming definition of self, which is based on what is naturally and fundamentally good about a person. This leads to existential peace, the polar opposite of pathological loneliness. For the first time, the newly self-loving person feels comfortable in their own skin. Free from shame and loneliness, this person can then find and demand mutuality and reciprocity in all of their relationships. The new relationship rules require self-love, self-respect, and self-care, which engenders the same in others. The culmination of these achievements results in self-love, the serenity and acceptance of one's place in the world. Being perfect despite one's problems is the foundation for future loving relationships with self and with others. With these two pyramids, a person can intuitively visualize their self-love deficit disorder. By simplifying the codependency problem into a sequential and logical illustration, the frightened and pessimistic codependent is more likely to courageously take on the biggest fight of their life, to resolve their lifelong battle with SLDD, and to fight for their right to be self-love abundant, the Codependency Cure. It's time to say no to Band-Aid therapy. Working on surface problems while neglecting the root cause only triggers the very shame that perpetuated the SLDD from the beginning. The journey from self-love deficit to self-love abundance is expanded upon with depth and simplicity in Ross Rosenberg's 5.5-hour video seminar entitled The Codependency Cure, Recovering from Self-Love Deficit Disorder. It is a powerfully helpful resource to both the SLD and the clinical practitioners helping them. The seminar is available at www.selfloverecovery.com.